different numbers. Okay, so these numbers can be represented like this, like 4, it can be written like 2 multiplied 2. Okay,
Yes, sir.
9, it can be written like 3 multiplied 3, or 16 can be written as 4 multiplied 4, and 25 can be written as 5 multiplied 5 here. So we basically say that square of 2, 3, 4, and 5 are what? They are 4. Square of 3 is 3 multiplied 3, that is 9. Square of 4 is 4 multiplied 4, that is 16. And square of 5 is 5 multiplied 5, that is 25. Okay. Now, what about the square root here? What does this square root word mean here? So let's say I have given a square number 25 here. Okay, and I need to find its square root. Like, what was the base number from which this square was derived? So I put it under square root. This symbol is called a square root symbol. Okay, root symbol. So I have taken this under a square root symbol, and under this, when I brought this number 25, upon prime factorization of 5, upon prime factorization of 25, it can be written like 5 multiplied 5. Okay, so now you have got a pair of two numbers. You will take it out of the square root. That will be simply 5. So we say that 5 is the square root of 25. Similarly, see, you have another number 36. Okay, you will take it under square root. Okay, so it can be written like 6 multiplied 6. Right, guys? So
Yes, sir.
now we have got two numbers. Okay, pair of two numbers here. So it can be simply written outside of the square root as 6 only. So hence 6 is the square root of 36. That is what the chapter is all about.
Yes.
Okay. And square and square roots for different numbers, there are different properties of square and square roots, which we are going to be covering in detail in this class. Okay. So that's just the basic idea of what the chapter is about. So see here. Square number. What do we mean by square number? Any natural number, let's say p, okay, which can be represented as y square. Yani p can be represented at y square. Let's say I say 25. 25 can be represented at 5 square. Right, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is basically what we call as square number. That any number, let's say p, which can be represented as y square, where y is a natural number. Remember, this y here, it has to be a natural number. Okay, then p is called a square number here. Okay, so in this one, this 25 and 5 square, tell me which is the square number.
Yes, sir.
In this one here, notice where I'm pointing the arrow. So
Yes,
in
sir.
this one, which is the square number here as per the definition?
P.
P is the square number, and the example of P here is
Y square.
25. No. Example here, no?
Okay.
Look, read the
25,
definition again,
sir.
Ahmed. Yeah, very good. Ahmed, read the definition.
Okay, sir. Any natural number p which
Hmm.
can be represented as y square, where y is a natural number, then p is called a square number. Example: 4 equals to 2 square, 9 equals to 3 square, 16 equals to 4 square, where 2, 3, 4 are the natural numbers and the 4, 9, 6 are the respective square numbers. Such types of number are also known as perfect squares.
Okay, we will come to perfect squares in a while here. Okay.
Okay.
So by square number, basically those numbers which can be represented in the form of y square. Can you guys list some other examples apart from 4, 9, and 16? Like 4 can be written as y square. I mean, it can be written like 2 multiplied 2. So that is 2 square.
2 square. Yes, sir.
Right, guys? So 9 can be written as in the form, it can be represented in the form of y square. So it can be written like this: 3 multiplied 3, that gives you 3 square. Similarly, you have 16.
Yes, sir.
It can be represented like y square. So you get 4 multiplied 4, that is 4 square. So 4, 9, 6, these are your square numbers here. Right, guys? Similarly,
Yes,
we can have another number as 25, 36, 49, and so on. All right, guys. Now see, there are some square numbers which are called perfect squares. Like if I take example of, let's say I have taken example of 81 here. So 81 is square of which number? It is the square of 9, right guys? And in fact, we observe here even 9 is a square of a number here. 9 is a
Yes, sir.
square of 3 here.
Yes, sir.
Getting this thing, right? Similarly, you can have other perfect squares also. Okay, let's say you have got, let's say we have taken another perfect square number. Let's say we have got, yeah, this number 625 here. That's a bigger number. So 625 is a square number. Is a square of which number? It is a square of 25 here.
Okay, okay, sir.
All right, guys. And
Yep.
25 is a square of 5 here.
Yes, sir.
So we say that those numbers whose square is also a square of another natural number, they are called perfect squares. Getting this thing or not?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Now see, there are some of the square numbers given here. Okay, so in fact you guys should be able to recall these squares of different numbers. In fact, it is recommended that you memorize square numbers up to 20, not up to 20, up to 15. Okay, okay, so just read the square of these numbers. What are they? Like up to 10 it is pretty easy. After 10 you guys need to remember.
Okay, sir.
Okay, so Ahmed, you first read the squares here. What are they?
Sure, sir. Sum of the square numbers: 1 square equals to 1, 2 square equals to 4, 3 square equals to 9, 4 square equals to 16, 5 square equals to 25, 7 square equals 36 square equals to 36, 7 square equals to 49, 8 square equals to 64, 9 square equals to 81, 10 square equals to 100, 11 square equals to 121, 12 square equals to 144, 13 square equals to 169, 14 square equals to 196, 15 square equals to 225.
Okay. So you guys will have to remember squares up to 15. Okay, that is your task. All right. That is pretty easy. Okay. Now let's move ahead. Now let's talk about the different types of properties of square numbers. As I mentioned in the beginning that in the chapter we are going to we will be talking about different properties of square numbers. Okay. Like see these numbers: 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, or 9. Okay. So in most of the cases, the square numbers, whether you take, let's say you have 4 here. Okay. Now you have 16, you have 25, you have 36, you have 49, you have 81, you have 100, you have 121, right guys? You have 196. So in all these cases, notice the number which what is the number ending with? Like the 2-digit numbers, they are ending with what? They are ending with 6, 5, 4, 9, 1, or 0.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So first thing you guys need to remember about square numbers is that they will end with 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, or 9 only. Okay. A number cannot, a square number cannot end with 3. It cannot
Okay.
end with 7, right guys? So it cannot end with 2 as well. All right. So it will not end with 2, it will not end with 3, it will not end with 7. Okay, apart from these, the ending number will be 0, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Okay. So in fact, no square number ends with 8 as well, right guys? So remember
Okay.
these things. and while you will be solving questions, it will automatically be remembered by you guys. Okay. Now see, any number whose end number or whose one space digit is either 1 or 9 will always have a square number ending with 1. Let's say 9. What is the square of 9?
Sir, 81.
81. Okay. Let's say we have a number ending with one digit here, 1 here. So the
Yes.
square of 11 is
Yes, sir.
121. Similarly,
121.
exactly. Similarly, the square of 19 is 361 and 21 441. Now notice the unit place of all these numbers is either 1 or either 9. Right guys, either 1 or either 9 here.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we see their square number also ends with either 1. Well, in fact, 1 only. Okay. So we conclude two things from this discussion here, that square numbers, they will end with 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9. And any number whose unit place is either 1 or 9, their square numbers unit place will be, yes,
1 or 6
1.
or 0.
No, 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 no. Look, this is the first point we talked about. We are talking about the second point here. Read this one, Arhan. What does the second property read here? What does it say?
Any number having 1 or 9 in its one place will always have a square ending with 1.
Right. So these numbers like 1, 9, 11, 19, and 21, these are numbers which have either 1 or 9 in their ones place. So the square number is ending with 1 in their unit place, isn't it? Huh, Ahmed? Look, the ones
Yes, sir.
place is 1 here, the unit place is 1. The unit place in 81 is also 1. The unit place in 121 is also 1. In 361 and 441 also, unit place is 1. Okay. So that is the second thing you guys need to remember. Aran, that is clear to you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let's move ahead then. Now, what about those numbers whose unit place is either 4 or 6? What do we say about the unit place of a square? Their squares then. Suppose we have a number 4 here. So what is the square of 4?
16.
16. Or let's say we have got another number 16 here. What is the square of 16? You guys can take help from the table given here.
256.
256. And guess. What about 24?
576.
576. Okay. So these are your required numbers here, 4, 16, and 24. And their squares are 16, 256, and 576 respectively. Now, what is common about 16, 256, and 576?
So their ones are always 6.
Yes, exactly. Exactly, Ahmed and Arhan. Their one space is always 6. So numbers which have 4 or 6 in their units place, their square will always end with 6. That is the second property. Okay.
Yes,
So
sir.
so far we talked about two property. What was the first property?
The number with ones will some a number with ones and nines will always end with the will always end with 1
Yes,
as
and
the square root of.
okay. The unit place of their square will always be 1. Okay. And Ahmed, what about you?
Yes, sir.
Yes. What was the first property we talked about?
One's digit, sir. The square of the digits ones, nines, and
We
3.
talked about 1s and 9 only.
Okay.
Okay. See, any number whose unit place is either 1 or 9, their square will always have 1 in their unit place. Okay, they will end with 1. Now, second property is that any number whose unit place is either 4 or 6, their square number will end with 6 here. Like in all these numbers, the end number is 6. Uh, let's move ahead. Now, what about a number whose unit place is 0? Like I have got a number 10, 50, 100, 150, and 400 here. Now, notice there is square numbers. Aren't they all ending with 0?
Yes, sir, they are.
Okay. So any number which has 0 in its unit place, its square will always have an even number of zeros at the end. What does it say? Even number of zeros at the end. So see for number 10 here, what is the number of zeros in its square?
Sir, 2.
There are 2 zeros. Now for 50 here, what is the number of zeros?
Sir, 2.
2. That is also 2. So now for 100, yes, Ahmad, what
Yes,
are the
sir.
number of zeros? For 100, what are the number of zeros in its square?
100 square.
No. Listen to the question carefully. The property says that any number which has 0 in its unit place, its square will always have an even number of zeros at the end. Even numbers 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, and so on.
Oh.
So this number, it ends with 0. Its unit place is 0 here. So its square will always have 0 in its unit place. And further property says that the number of zeros in its square will be in even number. Right, Ahmed? So how many squares are in this one? There are, how many
No,
zeros? There are 4 zeros. Right.
mm,
And
yes, sir.
Arhan, what about 150? How many 50?
Sir, 2.
There are 2. Similarly, for 400, there are 4 zeros here. Okay. So far we talked about 3 properties. In fact, we can say we have discussed four property, because in the beginning we talked about this one also, that the square numbers ends with 0, 1, 4, 5, 6, and 9. Okay, so 1, 2, this property is 3, and property 4. So far, any confusion to you guys?
No, sir.
Okay. Ahmed?
No, sir.
Okay. Now, look, there are now some patterns in numbers which you guys must have studied in your previous class. You must have studied about triangular numbers, right? Like the numbers can be
Yes,
represented
sir.
if you represent them in the form of dots here. Like, see, there's 1 dot here representing 1. There are 3 dots here. Then there are 6 dots here. Then there are 10 dots here. Aren't they forming a triangular like pattern here? Right.
Yes, sir.
So numbers like 1, 3, 6, 10, 15, 21, and so on, when they are represented in the form of dots, they form a triangular like pattern. Hence, these are called what? Triangular numbers. Right, guys? So if we could arrange the
Yes.
dotted pattern of the numbers in the triangular form, then these numbers are called triangular numbers. Okay. And if you were to add two triangular consecutive numbers, what do you observe here? Let's say, let's add the two consecutive numbers. Add these two, then these two, and add these two numbers. So what do you get from here? 1 plus 3, that gives you 4. Right, guys? 3 plus 6 here, 3 dots, and 6 dots here. You add these two, you get 9. Then you add
Sir,
these 6 dots and 10.
10.
Yeah. No, not 10, it's 16 here. These two, we are adding these one, no? These 6 dots here and these 10 dots. You add them, you get 16. Okay. Similarly,
Yes.
you add these two, these 10 dots and these 15 dots. Next, you will be getting how much? It will be 25, right, guys? Similarly, add 15 and 21. Here you will be getting 36. So next we get 36. So Ahmed and Arhan, you guys tell me what pattern do we observe here? What is the property being shown here in 4, 9, 16, 25, 36?
So the ones are either 6, 5, and
No, don't notice the
9
digit number.
and
Don't notice the digit number. Just notice the whole numbers here. Okay. What do the numbers tell here? Aren't they square numbers? Like 4, 9. There is square values.
yes, sir.
Yes. 4 is the square of 4 is the square of 2 here. 4 is the square of 2. 3 is the 9 is the square of 3. 16 is the square of 4. 25 is the square of 5. And what about 36, Ahmed? Ahmed, 36 is the square of
36 is a square of set I 6. Yes, 6.
6 here. Okay. So we see here that when you add two consecutive triangular numbers, you get a square number. Okay, what did I say? If you add two consecutive numbers, if we add two consecutive triangular numbers, notice triangular numbers, then we can get the square number. Remember these properties. Remember this property. This is very important. Okay, so Ahmed, what does the property says?
If we add two consecutive triangle numbers, then we
Hmm.
can get the square number.
Yeah, for example,
Um, for example, sir, like
look at the figure. No, there are so many examples given in the figure. We just talked about them. Like these are all consecutive triangular numbers.
okay,
So example is what? 1 plus 3. See here. This 1, this 1, this 3. You add and you get 4. 4 is a square number. Then you add 3 and 6, you get 9. 9 is a square number. You add then 6 and 10, you get 16. That is also a square number. Isn't it so, Arhan?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so how do we define this property? Define this property?
So addition of triangular numbers.
Yeah. So addition of triangular numbers, what? Complete the full property.
So adding two consecutive triangle numbers will always give us a square.
Exactly. Exactly. Okay, this is clear to you, both of you?
yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay, now let's find out numbers between square numbers. Let's say I am providing you two consecutive square numbers. Let's say I give you 4, okay, and 9. That is two consecutive. Consecutive means continuous. Right, guys? एक के बाद एक, लगातार. So that means consecutive numbers. So if you were to required to find the numbers between 4 and 9 here, how do you guys find the numbers between 4 and 9, between two square numbers? So let's take two consecutive numbers and plus 1 here. Okay, first we have taken two consecutive numbers and plus 1 here. And plus 1. These are two consecutive numbers here. So there will be two and non-perfect square numbers between their square numbers. What does it say? There will be two and non-perfect square numbers between their square numbers. See, let's take an example and it will become more clear. Is Arhan, you saying
Can
something? See,
I actually didn't understand.
if you take two consecutive numbers, let's say you take n and you take n plus 1 here. Okay, so
So,
exactly there will be two n non-perfect square numbers between these two square numbers. Let's take an example here. Let's say n is 5 here. Okay, let's say n is 5 here. So 5 square equals to 25. All right, that is my first square number. And what will n plus 1 be? N plus 1 will be 5 plus 1, that is 6. Okay,
so 5 plus 1.
just let me erase this one. Yeah, so we take n equals to 5. All right, so n square equals to 25. Right, guys? Then we take n plus 1. So that means 5 plus 1 here. Remember, we have taken n as 5 here. So 5 plus 1 gives me 6. And n square, that is 6 square, gives me how much? It gives me 36. Now, basically, you guys are required to find how many numbers are there between 25 and 36. Okay. So basically, it says that it can simply be find out by this formula, that is simply 2n. Okay. So 2n, that will give you your answer here. Okay. So what was the value of n here? N here. It was 5. We took n as 5 here. Right, guys? So 2n means 2 multiplied 5, that gives you 10. So notice these two numbers here. Notice 25 and 36. See here, 25 and 36. Write down the numbers between 25 and 36. What are they? 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35. Now count how many numbers are they from 25, in between 25 and 36. This Ahmed, count how many numbers are there.
Oh, sir, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29,
No,
30, 31, 32.
excluding 25 and 36. We need to find numbers between
Oh,
the square numbers. We are finding number between the square numbers. What are the square numbers mentioned here? They are 25 and 36. Exactly. Exactly. And Ahmed, you also count the number, so you also get the better idea. Okay, so we see that there are exactly 10 numbers in this case. How did we found out? We simply found out by the formula 2n here. Okay, so we ultimately knew that n, the value of n was 5 here. How did we calculate the value of 5 here? None of you asked me this question. Look, notice the first square number. If the question says you like find the numbers, okay, let the question it be like this. Okay, how many numbers are there between 25 and 36? This is your question. Okay, one way is to just simply write down the numbers, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, and just count them and give the answer. But if you have got larger numbers, then it will be difficult. Okay, then that will take too much time to calculate. So what we need to do, we will write 25 on one side and you write 36 here. Now 25 is the square of which number? It is the square of 5 here. Right, guys? Okay. Are you guys getting this or not? Or is it confusing a little bit? Let me write it afresh. See here. You write 25 and your number, another number is 36. Okay, you need to find out how many numbers are in between 25 and 36. So 25 is the square of 5 here. Or let's guess. So you simply so this 5 will be what? It will be the value of n here. And we know that the formula to find the number formula to find how many numbers are in between two square numbers, it is simply 2n. So we have got n here, and we can calculate the numbers now. That it will be 2n. That means 2 multiplied 5, that gives you 10. So there are exactly 10 numbers in between 25 and 36. Let's do a exercise here. Let's find out another number. Okay, so if I change the question, guys tell me how many numbers are in between 36 and 49. Now you guys find out this one and answer your uh, give your answers in the chat box.
Okay.
Yes, sir, and that is correct.
Yeah, sir, I can't figure it out, sir.
Okay, look, in the question just before the previous question, no, it was 25 and 36. Okay, right, that was the question now. So you were required to
Yes, sir.
find how many numbers are in between these two square numbers. We know the formula is 2n here. The formula to find the number of squares, no, formula to find how many numbers are in between two square numbers, it is simply 2n. So, but what is this n here? How do we find out n here? N basically is the number of which this is the square. So 25 is the square of which number? It is of 5, isn't it, Ahmed? 25 is the
Yeah,
square of
yes,
5,
sir.
right? So this 5 represents n here. Okay, now you will simply put the value of n in 2n. So 2n means 2 multiplied 5, that gives you 10. Got this now? So similarly in this one, did you got this one or not?
No, sir.
No. Look, the question was that you are provided with two square numbers, 25 and 36 respectively. Okay. And you are asked that how many numbers are in between 25 and 36. Okay. Like numbers. The numbers we know it is going to be 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 up till until up to 35, and the total numbers are 10. We can count that. But why with formula, how do we calculate it? We know that first notice this here. 25 is the square of which number? It is of 5. Right guess. Like 5 multiplied 5 gives you 25. So this 5 here
So,
represents n here. Okay, let's say it to be n here. And we know that the formula to find the numbers between these two square numbers, it is 2n. Okay, so now you will simply put the value of n, that is 5, in this 2n. Remember how we solve these things in a linear equation in one variable. So it is 2 multiplied 5 equals 10. I hope you got this now.
Yes, sir.
Look, in the next, in this question, the first number was 36, another square number was 49. So 36 is the square of which number? It is, yes, Ahmed. 36
Th-
is the square of which number?
Six, sir. 6, sir.
6 here. Okay. That's why I'm saying you guys need to remember the squares up to 15. Okay. So it is the square of 6 here. So 6, you simply call it to be the value of n here. So, and you have find out it is 6. We know the formula to find out the numbers. It is 2n. So 2n means 2 multiplied 6, and there are 12 numbers in between 36 and 49. You can actually count the numbers as well: 37, 38, 39, 40, up till it will be 48, and there are total 12 numbers. All right, guys. Did you guys got this one? Okay. If you
Yes, sir.
have guys any confusion,
Yes,
I'm
sir.
here to explain. Okay. Now let's move ahead to odd numbers. Like, how do we add odd numbers? Okay, and what pattern do we observe in them? See here. Basically, the form says that sum of first and natural odd numbers is n square. Like, you are provided with some odd numbers. Let's say you have 1, all right. Then you have got another number 1 and 3. Consecutive natural or consecutive odd numbers we are writing here. Then you have got 1, 3, 5. Then you have 1, 3, 5, and 7. You add them, it is going to be 1. Okay, it is 1 plus 3, 4. It is how much? 9. It is
Yes, sir. Sir, it is 16.
16 here. Similarly, we can have 1, 3, 5, 7, and 9. Then we will be getting 25. So what
Yes.
do we observe in this one? That the sum of consecutive odd numbers gives us a
Sir,
gives us a
numbers.
square numbers. Isn't it so, Ahmed?
Yes, sir.
Right. So the series can be up to infinity. Like, you can have n numbers, you can have so many numbers, you can have so many odd numbers. It can 1, 3, 5, 7, 9. It can continue up to infinity. Okay. Let's say 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, up to given n number. Okay. So if my question is that find the sum of 10 consecutive odd numbers, you guys need to write 10 consecutive odd numbers. So we will write 1, 3, 5, 7, 9, then 11, then 13, then 15, then 17. Okay, stop me when it's when the count is 10. How many numbers are there? 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Right, right.
Yes,
So if you guys were to add these number, what is the value? Quickly tell me.
sir.
Yes, add it and quickly tell me what is the value. Yes, who got the answer?
Sir,
88. Let's say 1 plus 3 plus 5. It's 9. Yeah, give me a minute. 1 plus 3 plus 5, 9, 9 plus 7, 16, 16 plus 9, 25, 25 plus 11, that is up till here it is 36. Then 36 plus 13, that gives you how much? 49, 49 plus 15, it gives you 64, 64 plus 17, 64 plus 17, that gives you how much? 81, 81 plus 19, that gives you 100, right guys? Who got 100?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we see here that the sum of first consecutive odd numbers, we found out it to be 100. But we don't have so much luxury in exam. We don't have the luxury of time in exam. The time is limited there. So we have got the formula that you can simply calculate it by using the formula n square here. So what is the n here? and here is number of odd numbers. Number of, in fact, consecutive odd numbers. Number of consecutive. So n represents here what? It represents the number of consecutive odd numbers. So the question, in the question it was given, there are 10 consecutive odd numbers. Right, guys? So you will put the value 10 in this formula. It is 10 square. Now see here, you guys must be aware that like 1 square, it means 1 multiplied 1. 2 to the power 2, it means 2 multiplied 2. It is the power of on the number. Have you guys studied about exponent or not?
Yes, sir.
Right. So or if 3 have got the power of 2 on its head, that means 3 multiplied 3. Similarly, 10 multiplied 10 raised to the power 2 gives, it means 10 multiplied 10, that gives you 100.
That's 100.
Exactly. Right, guys? So this is how, in a simple way, we get the answer. Okay. Or let's say you guys have a number. You guys, if you guys are told to find the sum of 12 consecutive odd numbers. Okay. The question is, find the sum of 12 consecutive odd numbers. Now find out this one. The formula you guys are required to use, it's n square. Okay, and what is n here? And here is simply the number of consecutive odd numbers. Yes. Anyone who got the answer?
No, sir.
Okay. The formula is n square. Okay, and in this formula n square, you guys are simply required to put the value of n. Okay, and what is the value of n, by the way?
Sir, the average value.
Yeah.
Sir, the value of n was 142.
One.
Four.
Yes, Ahmed, you.
Uh,
Look, if I say that it's n square, and I say you that the value of n is 6, find the number. So how do we do that? We simply write it like this. N square means what? N multiplied n. The value of n is 6, so 6 multiplied 6, that gives you 36. So in this manner, you are required to find the answer. I hope it's clear to you now.
yes, sir.
Arhan, did you got the answer?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Mention your answer in the chat box. Yes, Ahmed, why are you taking so much time? And Arhan, you as well. Your exams are over or not, Ahmed?
Sir, no, sir.
Okay, when it's going to be over? Yes, Arhan, I got the answer. That's correct. Very good.
Oh, okay, sir. I also got the answer. I mean, I'm also solving it.
Okay. Look, let me help you. Look, we know the formula is n square. Okay. It is the formula.
Excuse me,
If,
sir. What did you say? Actually, your voice was like.
okay. No, nothing like we were just talking about examination. Okay, Ahmed's exam. So you see, we are solving this question here. So we know that n square, it is the formula to find out sum of consecutive odd numbers. The formula to find sum of consecutive odd numbers. Okay. And n represents number of odd numbers. So what is the number of odd numbers given in the question, Ahmed?
The number of odd numbers are 1357.
1357. Where are you looking here, Ahmed? It's 12 here. This is the question here. Ahmed,
Oh,
this is the question. The sum of 12 consecutive odd numbers. So there are the value of n is how much here? It is 12 here. Okay. So you will simply put this value 12 in the above given formula and you will get your answer. Right. So it's going to be n square. That means n multiplied n. That is 12 multiplied 12. That gives you how much? 144. Right, guys?
That
So
was
that
my
is
answer.
how you find out. Yeah, exactly, Arhan. That was the correct answer. Okay, that's how you are supposed to do it. Ahmed, did you got this one or not?
no, sir, I haven't.
You haven't got this one.
No, sir.
Look here. The thing is that we are not adding odd numbers here. Okay, like you see, we have got odd numbers one. Consecutive odd numbers means one after another. After one, you have got another odd number three. So then, if you keep on going, like you have 1 3 5 7 9, it could be up to any number. Okay, so let's say we have uh, odd numbers up to n. Okay, we don't know the in number, it could be infinity, but let's say we have got odd numbers up to n here. All right, and you're required to find the sum of all these numbers, so we represent it in the form of n square. Like see here, how many square numbers how many odd numbers are there in this one? There are two. Okay, so it is 2 square. Had we written it as n square, can we not write it like this? 2 multiplied 2, that gives me 4, right? See, or see this one, 1 3 and 5. How many odd numbers are there? There are 3 here. Okay, so we wrote it like 3 square. All right, see, 1 3 5 and 7. How many odd numbers are here? There are 4. So we wrote it 4 square. Getting this? Then we have 1 3 5 7 9. There are 5 odd numbers here. So we can write its sum as 5 square. That gives you 25. In fact, you can check it also. 9 plus 7 is 16. 16 plus 5, 21. 21 plus 3, 24. 24 plus 1, that is 25. Similarly, if you have consecutive odd numbers up to n, their sum can be find out using the formula n square. All right, and the question could be up to any given odd number. If the question here, like the question was, you have provided with 12 odd numbers, hence we know already that the formula required is n square, and this 12 here represents the number of consecutive odd numbers. So hence we find it like this.